She doesn't crave being understood, she craves being felt. And if you go in searching for logic, you'll never make it through the wild terrain of a woman's desire. Because what ignites her isn't what you expect, it's not your muscles, it's not your money, it's not your compliments, it's tension, it's mystery. It's the man she can't completely figure out. She won't say this aloud. She can't, because her desire doesn't speak, Quay reacts. It responds to your stillness, to your control, to the quiet space between your words. That very space, where her mind starts painting pictures you haven't even voiced yet. These are rules no one teaches. Because most men don't even notice them. But once you do, she'll dream of you, she'll crave you, and she won't understand why. Begins where certainty dies. The second she's convinced she has you, that's the moment her craving starts to decay. Not her love, not her gratitude, but that raw, pulsing, breathless hunger. It fades under the weight of predictability. Because female desire doesn't feed on security, it feeds on tension. On the unresolved mystery. You want to know why the nice guy always finishes last. Because he responds too fast, he over-explains, he delivers certainty before she even has a chance to feel anything. And real desire, true desire, lives in that sacred space in between what she feels and what she's unsure. She's even allowed to feel. You don't need to act toxic. You don't need to be cold, but you must stay unpredictable. Here's the Stoic truth. The more she knows you want her, the less she has to feel. Because the moment her nervous system relaxes too early, the tension that fuels lust drops into emotional silence. It's not that she stops liking you. It's that there's no longer a chase. And women don't desire what they already fully possess. They crave boundaries wrapped in uncertainty, not chaos, but unresolved intensity. When she starts asking, why hasn't he texted back? What's he thinking now? Did I go too far? That's when desire is alive. That's not logical, it's biological. She needs to feel herself leaning in, not because you're avoiding her, but because you're not chasing her. You're busy living, you're in motion, and she's not quite sure where she stands. That uncertainty, that's the birthplace of her fantasies. Most men ruin it way too early. They overcommit, overshare, overpromise, they kill the suspense, they become emotionally transparent, they put their cards on the table, and then wonder why she stopped responding. Here's the paradox. She will never fully relax around the man she fantasizes about, and she will never fantasize about the man she feels too comfortable with too soon. So what's your move? Slow it all down. Move with calm intention, not emotional urgency. Flirt with your eyes, not your mouth. Respond when you choose to, not when she expects it. And when she asks, what are you thinking? You smile and say, not ready to share that yet. Now her imagination fills the silence. Now she leans in. Now she lies awake wondering because you left a gap she wants to fill. That's not game. That's energetic contrast. And the man who provides that contrast. Warm, but never needy. Attentive, but not at her beck and call. Interested, but not emotionally naked. Too soon he's the one who triggers her desire. Because he knows the first rule of female attraction. Desire dies in certainty. It thrives in suspense. And it awakens the moment she's unsure if she truly has you. Second, she wants to be led somewhere she's too afraid to go on her own. She'll never say it out loud, but the man who makes her feel safest is also the one who makes her feel just slightly out of control, not recklessly, but with direction, with purpose. Because her desire doesn't respond to a man asking for a map, it responds to the man who becomes the map, the one who guides her somewhere unexpected. That's what no one tells you. She doesn't long for safety alone. She craves leadership into emotional danger. She wants to follow, even if her words scream independence. Her nervous system still wants the man who moves first, who walks into a room grounded, who speaks with certainty, who says, come, here, instead of asking, is this okay? This isn't about force, it's not about control. It's about presence. It's about direction. She's not turned on by softness alone, she's turned on by the man whose structure lets her relax into her own softness. When she breathes slower near you, she's waiting. When she stops talking when you touch her hand, she's waiting. When her eyes say more than her words, she's waiting for you to lead. Because her real desires, they live in the silence. In the surrender, in being pulled out of her head by a man more grounded than her inner noise. She wants to be kissed before she even realizes she said yes. Held in a way that silences her racing mind. She wants to hear, I like the way you hesitate. It's honest. Because that hesitation, that's where her fantasies hide, and the only man who gets to see them is the one brave enough to walk right into them. Most men wait. They ask for signs. They fear making her uncomfortable. And in doing so, they become forgettably safe. But the man who looks at her like he already knows what she wants, the one who leads her energy instead of echoing it, he stays in her mind. Because he didn't pressure her. He guided her. He didn't just touch her hand. He reached into the part of her that only comes alive for the right man. Here's the secret. She's not hiding her desire. She's guarding it, waiting for a man calm enough to hold it without flinching. And when you become that man, the one who leads, not asks, the one who's grounded, not reactive, she melts, because her body finally realizes it doesn't have to carry this moment. Someone else is in command, and that turns her on more than you'll ever hear from her lips, because she's been carrying everything. She's been leading her whole life. And what she really wants is one moment where she can surrender into your presence. That's not manipulation. That's leadership. And that's the second rule of female desire. She doesn't want to stay in control. She wants your direction to be so trustworthy that surrendering becomes her fantasy. Third, she wants to be wanted, but not too much. Yes, she wants to feel desired, but the second she feels worshipped, her desire begins to dissolve. It's a paradox most men can't crack. She needs to feel your hunger, but only if it's held with restraint. Why? Because once a man reveals his desire to fully, he stops being a mystery and becomes emotionally submissive. And when that happens, polarity collapses. Her body isn't built to respond to immediate devotion, it's wired for the uncertain dance of possibly being wanted. The nice guy says, "You're everything I've ever wanted." But the man who haunts her mind says, "You're interesting. I'm still figuring you out." That difference, it changes everything. She doesn't want to be a trophy for your loneliness. She wants to be a reward for your standards. She wants to be earned, but only when you don't need to win her. That's what draws her in. Not the man who declares his obsession, but the one who makes her feel his approval. Must be earned, because that approval, that's your currency. And if you hand it out too soon, without tension, without effort, she no longer feels pulled toward you. Desire evaporates. Why? Because you made it too easy. And female desire doesn't thrive in ease. It thrives in the chase for emotional altitude. Yes, she wants to feel seen, but only after she's shown you why she deserves to be. Not because you're cold, but because you're disciplined. You want her. Of course you do. But you don't need her. And you damn sure don't declare your obsession before she's earned that privilege, that calm hunger, that restraint, that quiet fire beneath your surface. That's what seduces her. It's the energy that says, "I want you, but you'll feel it when I choose the moment." Now she leans in, because you've made your desire feel earned, not assumed, not desperate, but deliberate. And once she senses that your attraction is a decision, not a default, she becomes obsessed with earning it. That's what keeps her up at night. The man who spills his soul too soon, but the one who looks at her like he could shatter her confidence, and still hasn't decided if she's worth the risk. It's not about pretending to be hard to get. It's about being hard to move. Stoic men, get this. You don't drown her in attention. You create a drought so each drop feels like a gift. You don't smother her with love. You offer presence but not submission. You give her your attention but not your soul. Not until the moment's right, and when you finally give it. When you finally say, "Now you've got me." She melts. Because she knows how rare that moment is. And now her desire isn't built on how she feels about herself, it's built on what she feels in your presence. That's rule 3. She wants to be wanted, but she only desires the man whose want can never be taken for granted.